What's going on? You're listening to King Cam's Ujumbe's podcast. Ujumbe means message, and the message is kings before the pharaohs. Yeah, I said it. The kings before the pharaohs. We're going to discuss the followers of Heru, or they call them Shimshu Heru. Last time we discussed the Nile River, Egyptian origins, and that King Horus or Heru was a real person before he became a myth, a legend. And those that came after him donned the name or title the Followers of Horus. So we're going to talk about that. They became so popular that according to the book of Coming Forth by Day, the followers of Heru were worthy of emulation. He said, may I be one of the followers of Horus. And according to John Jackson, in his book, The Introduction to African Civilization, Horus was real. So the scholars and Egyptologists said the Pharaonic age began 3200 BC. This period is called the First Dynasty. And it was founded by King Aha or Menes. Menes was a Nubian, and he united Egypt. He placed those two states into one nation because there was Upper Egypt, which was basically Sudan and Nubia, and Lower Egypt, which is the Nile River Delta, the land of Goshen in that area. And so he united that because they had separate kings, separate governors and rulers. So they united. And however, as time unfolded, the idea went on to assume that the Sphinx was around the same age as the pyramids, which they were not. The Sphinx, on record, is 10,500 years old, which makes it older than even the first dynastic period. So, in doing this, we will have to identify that there were kings and pharaohs long before this, and they were called the Shining Ones and the followers of Heru. Now, there's been whispers about this, full of mystery, and as time goes on, according to Mr. Robert Bovall and Graham Hancock in their books, The Message of the Sphinx and the Black Genesis, the kingdom of Nubia always had colonies along the Nile, and they were more ancient than what modern historians call ancient Egypt. Dr. Ben points out that Ethiopia and Nubia had a high culture long before the kingdom of Kemet. So that was basically a Kemet before Kemet. It has been noted that the kingdoms of the Nile were established like 36,000 years ago and had kings and queens that reigned for a very long time. We're about to get into that. So these kingdoms of Nubia and Ethiopia were established, and they were very civilized. Because the Egyptians already told us their origin story in the Papyrus of Hunefer. It came from the foothills and the mountains of the moon where God had been. But who are these people that came from Sudan and Nubia? Who were they? Who were these great ancestors, or the ancient of ancient ancestors, who founded Egypt, who colonized Egypt? Yeah. Ethiopia, according to Dr. Ivan Van Sertima in his book, The Egypt Revisited, he said that he knows that Ethiopia said that Egypt was a colony of theirs. Interesting. So, these great ancestors wrote their story. Even the Greeks mentioned that the Egyptians said where they came from. So why are we going with these so-called modern historians saying that they came from aliens and things like that, where the Egyptians actually said that, hey, we came from Uganda and Kenya area. And there were kings before our king, queens before our queen.